This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
Today on Rescue 911, a pool disaster.
Jared just grabbed Justin, and then I realized he'd been shot.
A dad's fight to free his children from being electrocuted.
That's another one of those snapshots, to see your boys in such tremendous pain and knowing that there was nothing you could do for them.
Plus,
I thought, well, surely that's not the baby because it's not time for the baby to be born.
a premature baby makes a hero out of a soon-to-be grandmother on Rescue 911.
We begin in Pembroke Pines, Florida, on May 30th, 1993, at the home of Brad Varnum and his family.
Yeah! Did you see her take her first bite?
It was day before Memorial Day, and we were celebrating my daughter Jillian's first birthday. Neil and Jared and Justin, they had gone over to the pool area. They go to the pool area every day. It's not something that we even give a second thought to because it's directly across from our house.
13-year-old Neil Malden lived nearby.
My friend introduced me to Justin and Jared, and we just started hanging out with each other, and now we're really good friends. We were just playing catch the ball there in the water, and I was like just throwing it to both of them, and it just went right through them. Justin went to get the ball. We just thought he got hurt, like hurt his back or something. Justin! Jared just grabbed Justin, and then I realized he'd been shot.
When we continue.
I got to the scene, and they were both unconscious, and it was, as a dad, it's like your worst nightmare not knowing who you can help first.
When 14-year-old Justin Varnum was accidentally electrocuted at the swimming pool near the family's home, his younger brother Jared tried to help him and was also shocked. Their friend ran to tell the boy's father, Brad, what had happened.
Jared and Justin,
We thought he was kidding at first, and he actually was just so frantic. And then he said, I think something's happening. I think they're being shocked. I got to the scene, and they were both unconscious. They were both blue. And it was, as a dad, it's like your worst nightmare not knowing who you can help first. I didn't know where a breaker was, and I wasn't going to be able to separate them by touching him, because every time I did, it was shocking me. So I stuck my hand down Jared's pants, and Jared just kind of plopped off. I was checking for a pulse. I was trying to see if there was any feeling, any respiration. I really couldn't feel anything at all.
Pembroke Pines Fire Rescue.
Yes, 1, 2.
Their mother Linda called for help from the house.
At this point, I wasn't hysterical because I didn't know what the situation was over there, and I wasn't quite sure what to tell them even.
I worked on Jared, and Jared started to gurgle and seemed like he was at least being able to breathe on his own. Help! When I touched Justin now, the shock was a lot stronger. Help! I remember bracing both arms through his suit and just pulling. And Jared just kind of plopped off. I mean, it was almost so easy. But here's Justin, who's been on the pole the entire time, and I couldn't get him free. Help! I mean, I pulled, and I couldn't get him free. And to see him, you know, not be able to get free, to see him not be able to come off and not be able to start working on it, I'm thinking the whole time, I gotta get him off here, I gotta get him off here. Justin finally just kicked off. Help! Help! He was not responsive. Jared had initially come out of it relatively quick. I mean, there was such a sense of relief when he started to respond. It was like, he's going to make it. You felt that. Justin just didn't come back.
Honey, you okay? Breathe.
You always have this feeling that the worst thing that could ever happen in your life is that you could lose a child. And at this point, I had things running through my head about losing two of them at the same time.
Within 5 minutes of the call, Pembroke Pines fire rescue units got to the scene, including paramedic Lou Natina.
You got him, Chino?
Jared was breathing much easier than his brother Justin.
He's breathing. You go ahead and get
Justin was moving very little. The moans that were coming out of him were painful, and he was unconscious.
Double check the fence.
When paramedic Lieutenant Michael Hole arrived, he took charge of the scene.
Usually an electrocution injury, the external signs are very limited, where the internal signs that you can't see may be very devastating. The thermal injury that the electricity would cause could lead to anything from respiratory arrest to cardiac arrest to spinal cord injuries, and I had feared the worst for them.
As they were moving them out, they were just making this guttural noise, like coming from the deepest part of their insides. That's another one of those snapshots, to see your boys in such tremendous pain and knowing that there was nothing you could do for them.
Both brothers were taken to Memorial Hospital, where a trauma team was waiting, including emergency physician Doug Smith.
Hang in there. We're just waiting for the...
Jared was the first patient to arrive. His heart was beating well, he had a good pulse, and he was conscious.
All right, come on, let's go. Let's get him back.
The older child, Justin, arrived shortly thereafter. He was not stable by any definition of the term.
Several episodes of vomiting, and
His breathing was close to non-existent. Justin was essentially dying in front of our eyes.
I was in the bed right next to him, and I heard the people talking. I didn't know if he was gonna make it. I just didn't think it was fair that he got it so bad, and I didn't.
We've had a successful stabilization of your son to this point.
He said that Jared was starting to respond, but Justin was not responding well. They said that he was pretty much out of it, and that there was a good possibility that it might be a real long night for us.
There is no way in the emergency department to tell to what degree that child's brain has been damaged. You don't know. Electrical injuries are a big mystery. They can vary so widely in person to person.
I remember it was starting to get daybreak, and it just seemed like the night had taken forever. I remember Justin starting to respond, and to have him wake up Memorial Day and say, "Hey, Dad, it's Memorial Day," and to be able to communicate and have the presence of mind to understand what day it was after all he had been through that night, it was just a real reassuring event.
6 months have passed. Their lives are slowly returning to normal.
I'm extremely proud of the way that they've come through this. It's an awesome feeling to look at them and realize how much worse things could have been. And I don't think we realized that until maybe even weeks later.
14-year-old Justin still has some nerve damage in his left leg.
It's hard sometimes. It's very hard. But my dad's always remind me when I do get frustrated that, well, you could be in a wheelchair watching this instead of out here trying to get back.
How you feel?
And I'm really happy that I'm back the way I am.
12-year-old Jared has also had some problems, including with his vision.
They told me to expect problems running out of breath and pulling muscles a lot easier. I have thought about it, that it could have been worse, and I'm just glad that it wasn't, because I'm just thankful for the people that were there. It helped.
The first time we ever got to go out, we went over to the fire station.
The firemen just don't get to see the good side of the situations that they're involved in. There's so many times that all they see is the tragedy. We felt it was very important to go back and let them know how much that meant to us, what they had done for our boys that night.
They were sitting down.
It was one of the best feelings I think I've ever experienced in my career here. To see them walking around, being able to talk. It couldn't have been scripted any better.
Neil's a very good kid. He had the presence of mind to come over and get Linda and myself, as opposed to trying to help himself. If he had done that, one of the three of them might not have made it off the pool area that night.
Next.
I need an ambulance ASAP. My daughter is in labor and she's 6 months pregnant.
She was 6 months and it was coming feet first. So time is of the essence because the baby can die.
"18-year-old Marcia Goff and her husband Jamie were living with Marcia's mother, Sheena Roach, at her home in Springfield, Tennessee, while awaiting the birth of their first child. Sheena shared their happiness and looked forward to becoming a grandmother. But on August 3rd, 1993, their excitement and anticipation unexpectedly gave way to fear.
When I first found out I was going to be a grandmother, it was like, I'm really not ready for this, because I'd already told her I couldn't be a grandmother until I'm 40. You know, I don't want to be.
Around 7 p.m., Marcia's husband Jamie returned home from work.
How long has she been sleeping?
I don't know. I just got here myself.
Usually every day when I walk in, I'll kiss her.
How you doing?
So she woke up, and I was talking to her because she had went to the doctor that day, and I was going to say, you know, what all the doctor told her.
I think I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
She's complaining about her back hurting, and then she got up and went to the bathroom.
Come on, Jamie, let's go get the truck.
Okay.
Mama, can you come here?
She was 6 months pregnant, and she was really calm when she called out to me the first time. It was like a question. She wanted to ask me something.
Mama!
When I came in, there was like a bloody puddle of water in the floor. I'm going to call the hospital. It really made me nervous because I knew that it wasn't time for her to have the baby. I saw there was something coming out of her. I had no idea what it was at first. It was a dark blue color. It was really scary because I thought, well, surely that's not the baby because it's not time for the baby to be born.
I don't know what to do.
And then I realized that coming out of Marcia was 2 little feet.
At 7:15, Sheena's call for help came in to Robertson County dispatcher Phil Parker.
Emergency 911. I need an ambulance ASAP. My daughter is in labor and she's 6 months pregnant.
Okay, ma'am, you need an ambulance at Mount Zion Road?
Yes, I do.
How old is your daughter, ma'am?
She is 18.
18-year-old? Is this her first child?
Yes, it is.
Okay, stay online with me. I'm getting an ambulance en route to you. No. Okay, has she had any kind of bloody show or anything?
Push, Marcia.
Tell her, do not push.
I'm sorry, the baby is already out.
The baby is out?
Yes, it is. Push, Marcia.
Paramedic Director Jackie Wilkerson was called in.
Okay, ma'am. Do you see the baby's head?
No, not yet. It came out feet first.
It's coming out feet first.
When I approached the console, Phil told me that she was 6 months and it was coming feet first. Usually those are very complicated and potentially fatal to the child. So time is of the essence in those conditions because the baby can die.
What was going through my mind is, what am I going to do if this baby is dead? You know, I'm not going to be able to tell Marcia. You know, she's not going to be able to handle this.
Marcia, calm down. Do what?
Ma'am, I've got a paramedic online with me. Go ahead and talk to him.
Ma'am?
Uh-huh.
Okay. What's going on right now? Is baby, is it presenting?
Yes, everything but the head has come out.
Okay. Is it face down or face up?
Face down.
Okay.
When I found out that it was face down, my concern was that the baby could suffocate in the birth canal.
It's going to get a little messy now, but you need to run your 2 fingers, your index finger index finger in under the baby's face.
Okay.
And then just sort of create a little air pocket there, okay?
Okay.
The baby, if there's no complications, the baby should deliver okay, all right?
I'm sorry, Marcia. I'm trying to get the baby.
Honey, I know it's uncomfortable, but tell her we need to get an airway for the baby.
I was scared for her. I love her more than anything in this world. I didn't want nothing to happen to her.
What am I going to do about the cord?
Okay, just let, as long as the cord's not pinched off, just let it be okay. It'll come out on its own. Okay? Has the baby come out yet?
Yes, it has.
Is it breathing? Is it crying or moving?
No.
It was almost a morbid no, and that really concerned me. Being 3 months premature, there's a big chance of a lot of things not being fully developed at that point in time, so there was a lot of things that were stacking up against this baby.
He's moving.
Is he moving?
Well, he did.
He just looked so scary to me. He was so tiny and so lifeless. It was killing me because I didn't know what to do for him, and I thought he was going to die right there in my hands.
Take your feet and thump him on the bottom of the feet a little bit, see if you can stimulate him, okay?
The bottom of his feet?
Bottom of his feet. Just thump him on the bottom of his feet, see if you can stimulate him a little bit.
This grandmother has done such a fantastic job up to this point getting the baby delivered. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how am I going to tell her that she's got to do CPR on this baby?
Just keep thumping, see if it... Okay? He's crying? All right.
After he let out that first cry, nobody could ever imagine how wonderful that was. We were kind of laughing and crying at the same time. It was a very exhilarating moment.
Everything, the worst is over right now, okay?
Within 8 minutes, the 1st Robertson County Rescue Unit arrived on the scene, led by paramedic supervisor Mike Clark.
Is he breathing? When we first saw the child, we were very concerned. He was very blue. He was laying real still. He would not respond to very much stimulation at all.
When the paramedics got here, it was just like a big weight off my shoulders.
It appeared that the family thought everything was fine. They were elated that the child had been born and they had part in it. But we knew we had a very critical situation on our hands. We did not expect this child to survive.
A 2nd ambulance arrived to take Marcia to the hospital.
After Marcia had the baby, she just got up off the floor and walked to the stretcher like it wasn't no big deal. I told them to give me some drugs. I think I was shook up more than she was. About halfway to the hospital, a miracle happened. He started moving his arms and legs, and he started crying. And it was like the hand of God touched him.
3-pound, 1-ounce baby Brian Goff was taken to the neonatal unit of Vanderbilt University Medical Center. There he was put under the care of pediatrician Dr. Margaret Rush.
Baby Brian was born in an unwarmed, unprepared environment, so he actually became cold stressed. But his lungs were mature and he was able to breathe on his own. Really, he did very well.
You can do a little arm.
On the 4th day after Brian's premature birth, his parents were finally allowed to hold him for the first time.
What really frightens me is the fact that we almost lost him. And seeing him laying over there in the hospital was the worst feeling in the world.
Brian spent more than 6 weeks in the hospital. A few days before his original due date, he came home to join his family.
Okay. You're coming out. You're coming out. I need the granny.
I really love being a grandmother. He is the most special little child that was ever put on this earth to me. And I love him so much. And being there when he was born has made him that much more special to me.
My relationship with my mom has gotten stronger through this. I couldn't have made it without her, and I love her a whole lot.
I'm Sheila.
How you doing? Glad I'm Jackie. This is Mike.
Nice
I don't think you remember much about it.
I am very thankful for the 911 operator and the paramedic that taught me through the whole thing. I would have never been able to have known what to do for Brian, and of course he would have never took his first breath.
You want to hold him?
Yeah, let me try him out here. It's been a while. I feel like I was a help, but I feel like the grandmother was the main factor that this child is in the world right now. She did everything that I told her to do. She was fantastic. She really was. Since you did most of the work, I'll let you.
I'm very happy that this child made it. I want to hold him and hug him.
Yeah, he's come a long way.
Makes me feel very good that I made a difference.
I'm not going to have a little face left when she gets through kissing all over me. I've heard several people mention to us that he's just a miracle baby, and to us, he definitely is a miracle. I know he's going to be loved so much, and I know he's going to be spoiled rotten.
Step out of the car, please.